Hey, this is Mike McCready, co-founder and CEO of Music X-Ray, and your host on episode 45 of the Hookblast podcast. If you like catchy songs, hear me out. Now, my wife would say that nothing good ever follows when I start with the phrase, hear me out. But she's wrong. Even if the last time I said, hear me out, we ended up getting chased off the property by a swarm of bees, which, just for the record, wasn't even my fault. And, okay, they were more like flying ants. Okay, it was my Aunt Julie, but she's pretty fierce. And that's not the point. Hear me out, because I've been working hard to become, I actually am now the best podcast host in the whole worldly world. And that's why you join me every week, obviously, as we discover a few new catchy songs. You add the ones you love to your own streaming playlists, you rock out all week, and the next week, we repeat. If you're like most grown-ups, you love great music, and if you're like my wife, you're crazy about me. Well, actually, she says I'm crazy. But so here we are. And when I say we, I mean you and me. My wife's off watching reruns of The Bachelor, trying to recover from my romantic overtures. Okay, I'm in a better mood than usual. The show has been getting better, judging by all indicators, and while I really do appreciate all of the encouragement to seek couples therapy and get a life coach, what I really want to focus on are ways to continue to make the podcast better, because I have priorities. Besides, I'm already a great husband, so now I just want to make the podcast equally as amazing. So I've started to pay more attention to critical listener feedback, and you guys are, wow, I mean, believe me, well, kind of mean, actually. So let's just play some hooks. We're starting again with a rocking country song called Dang, from an artist named Patrick Dodge. He's from the Woodstock, New York area and primarily writes Christian music. So you can imagine the feathers he avoided ruffling by avoiding stronger language and simply went with Dang. He wrote this song on his first co-writing trip to Nashville with Brian White and Ben Spradley, who I don't have to tell you are, two guys. And this is Matt Houston, another guy on vocals. But let's do this.
Dang, got my heart just a beating bang bang. Oh, you know that every little thing you do got me spinning like a top girl, never wanna stop it. I don't think I've ever been this high. Oh, girl, you know I really wanna try. A sip of your lips, you're driving me insane all day. Oh, dang, girl. My whole pick.
That's Dang. And if you like that, you'll also like some Luke Bryan, Florida Georgia Line, Jason Aldean, Dierks Bentley, or pretty much any artist in the bro country lane. Okay, shifting gears, which is something I'm great at because, I used to own a stick shift. It was my mom's, and she never let me drive it. But, I was only, 32 and a half and couldn't get insured. Anyway, this is a song called On a Cloud by artist Eric Paul D. And this song grabbed me right in the pre-chorus with the interesting harmonies. And then it just, didn't let go. It's one of those songs that when you put it on, it leaves you feeling good and on the receiving end of, neighbor complaints. Good God, Greg, just enjoy it. You didn't have to call the cops. It's 3 a.m., Greg.
No, I can't lie, know you shake things up. And I'll tap out when I've had enough. And expectations way too high. And I'll believe when you're by my side. Head in the clouds, this love could take me down. And chasing after you, that's all I think about. On a cloud where I wanna stay, closer to the sun when you walk my way. Be the one in your dreams tonight, when the moon becomes a morning light.
That's On a Cloud. You're listening to Sleepy Stars, a song by Willow and Wood. Willow relates quite a soap opera. Quote, "A few years ago, Wood and I decided to spend Christmas in Paris. We saved all our coffee and beer pennies for 12 months and went with 3 of our favorite people, our bass player Bob, his wife Georgia, and Nicole." Unquote. Okay. You can already tell Nicole isn't important to the story here due to the lack of information. She's just Nicole. Unlike me, who, in this house anyway, is called, well, husband. Well, mostly hey you, but there's a reverence there. Plus, Nicole never appears again in the story, but basically it just sounds like Bob and Georgia spent the time in Paris getting it on all over the cobblestone streets, probably not sticking out like tourists at all. And Willow wrote this love song about them. Okay, and Nicole, if you're listening, I feel you. All right, may true love come your way. Here comes another great Christmas song. This one is from Margaret MacPherson. She says she's a very friendly person and loves saying hello to strangers. Well, she ignored me. And wishing folks a Merry Christmas because she says you only get to say it once a year and she really takes advantage of it. But I'm not so sure, Margaret. You only get to say it during one long season per year, but you get to say it a lot of times without your wife telling you to shut up. Sorry. Okay, so here are some things that I only say once a year. Yes, I'd like to join the gym. This whole IRS thing is some kind of racket. And of course, I ain't putting on that Girl Scout uniform again and trying to push cookies at the mall. Wait, strike that last one. You can put that on while making Christmas dinner, on repeat, because, from my experience, making Christmas dinner takes hours, or in my case, cleanup duties, which is why this year I'm lobbying for us to just order that big Christmas pizza again. Soon Santa will be here. That's Can't Wait for Christmas by Margaret MacPherson. If you see her out there, tell her I didn't mean it and to please call me back. But anyway, chances are she's probably going to say hi to you. You may not recognize her, though, because she'll be wearing one of those masks everyone gets made for themselves when they don't want me to recognize them. So come on, Margaret, anyway. Merry Christmas. This is the Gore boys. Herman III, who's 19, Edwin, 17, and Shawn Michael, 15. And these guys are a pretty slick package, kind of like yours truly. They've got a polished look and sound and a video that looks like Paula Abdul choreographed it. This is Swing My Way. I can't blame you now. Today I'm gonna make you mine. Yeah, promise I won't waste your time. Yeah. And now I'm like, hey, shorty, swing my way. What's your number? What's your name? Like, hey, shorty, who you came with? Tell your girls you're leaving with me. Promise I'll be back for the morning. And we can do whatever you wanna. I'm like, hey, shorty, swing my way. Hey, shorty, swing my way. That's Swing My Way, and it seems a pretty famous Instagram account called The Wicker Twins gave these guys a shout out, which kicked off the buzz around this song, and only took the buzz off me for a second. Actually, maybe that was a B. But anyway, the song is produced by Grammy-winning artist Theron Nephew Freemaster. And okay, if you've been following this podcast this season, you know I've got a soft spot in my heart recently for Lance. the writer and performer of the opening song on this podcast, Rockin' to the Dance Floor. And I'm pretty sure Lance will start talking to me again soon at some point. But you'll remember I brought him back for another song back on episode 27, a song called Jiggy Wiggle Party. Lance has been nailing it all year. He lives not too far from a studio where he goes whenever he's had a good idea. His songs are incredibly catchy. This is Livin' the Good Life Dream. Lance says that living the good life dream is a dream we all have, but it doesn't have to be a financial thing, says the guy who still owes me $15. It's an attitude, a positive way of life. We can all thrive for the good life dream, he says, if we have a positive state of mind. And $15. To me, he sounds like someone who may have just discovered yoga. And that's all the time we have for episode 45 of the Hookblast podcast. All songs are used with permission from the rights holders. Go out and have a great week rocking out to some of these tunes, and remember you can find the full versions of the songs on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, or SoundCloud, and you can find them on my playlists for each of those services by going to hookblast.com and clicking on playlists. I know, más fácil imposible. And don't forget to order your Mike McCready branded Slurpee straws. The building super says I have to make room in the common storage area in the basement, so they all gotta go. Rate and review this podcast, obviously 5 stars. There's a link in the show notes where you can do that on the homepage at hookblast.com. A common side effect of this podcast is that you leave feeling a lot more like you do now than when we started. And if you do, I'd like credit for that in your review. And I'll catch you right back here next week with a fresh batch of new hooks. Bye-bye.